These are the 3 best and strongest Town Hall 13 attacks that you will need to use right now. The Mass Valkyrie is still incredibly strong here at Town Hall 13. Of course, keep in mind that this is a very niche attack and works on certain bases that give you that proper funnel. As an example, this base here. What I did is I used my Warden Walk on one side of the base. This is typically what you're going to do to make sure that you've got very simple and great pathing. On the other side, you're using the best in slot siege machine, the Flame Flinger. That I personally believe is the best siege for it. This will clear another side of the base, which now gives you super easy pathing for your Valkyries and bowlers and your heroes to work themselves through the core and towards the back end of the base. That's where you'll have like the Hog Riders to provide more support as you work yourself around the base. So when you are hitting this, remember you want to start with the siege machine. Your Flame Flinger is really good. The only downside is it can be outranged by Expos and mortars. So one of the biggest things that you really want to make sure that you're doing is just removing those threats as soon as possible. Teslas are another one, but in this base, they're more in the core, mostly around the town hall, so it's pretty obvious where they're placed. Of course, the other way to funnel your Grand Warden is by using Sneaky Goblins. That can speed him up, especially if you're going into storages, which in my case, thank God I wasn't. All the storages were up at the top. But once you get a solid funnel set, but once both compartments are gone, you then want to send in a test Valkyrie to see if they go in the right direction and be very patient with your wall breakers so they can break open. I used a heal spell early on. This gave enough momentum to get the Valkyries and bowlers through. I then used a rage and a warden ability alongside the jump to go deeper into the base. This now allows you to really have a ton of power with your Valkyries and bowlers as you work yourself down. The heal spells really provide a lot of support. I used the freeze to help the Valkyries get through the town hall, and even underneath that bomb, they still had a majority of them alive. Now, of course, I didn't deal with an enemy clan castle in this example, but if you're sending all the Valkyries in with your heroes, just drop a poison, maybe drop a freeze. Otherwise, your queen and, of course, the poison will take care of the enemy clan castle. Otherwise, you'll send in the Royal Champion with your Hog Riders from the Flame Flinger to easily remove the rest of the base if there are any defenses left. And otherwise, you can get a really simple 3-star and have so many Valkyries up. But this is why I personally believe that Valkyries are still worth using after their buff. A lot of people don't really understand the craze about them. They're still really strong. Hybrid is still one of the stronger options in Clash of Clans. It can be forced on almost any base type. An example of a hybrid attack, this ring base is a great way. In terms of this, I used a Queen Charge on one side to remove the enemy clan castle. On the other side, I used my King and Siege Barrack to funnel out this side, which then gave me very easy pathing to work yourself in. Now, of course, the Flame Flinger is another great option, but really it's only good on bases, very wide compartments, and island bases. So you have some island infernos, you might want to use the Flame Flinger instead. Otherwise, the Siege Barrack is far better, especially if you have an open ring base like this. Now, attacking with your hybrid is pretty simple. We're going to start off with the use of wizards, baby dragons to really help create that funnel. You just want to make sure that the queen, you're getting your queen to go in, so super wall breakers or regular wall breakers are really good as you enter in. Keep in mind, you want to go for the clan castle troops with your queen charge. So keep that in mind. You want to make sure that you're getting in. If there is an air defense that is going to be threatening your healers, you can bring in the use of a freeze to mitigate that. You can bring in Hog Riders, which can help. Sacrificing some of your hogs is really good. But in this case, this is an example of dealing with the CC. Just drop a poison, have a rage, you're all good to go. But in this case, using the Hog Riders to remove the air defense really helped this attack a lot. On the other side though, you should use your King and Siege Barrack. Any wizards that you have is pretty nice, and it can easily be used to create the funnel, because remember, what you want is very simple pathing. In this case, it was only this part of the base, but this allows you to really get some very solid pathing in for your hybrid. The hybrid in terms of this is usually sending your miners, then your warden, and then your hog riders. In what I did, I sent my RC with them, so that is pretty much staple. But you're going to use that early heal spell, and since we were going into the town hall, I used a free spell to mitigate damage from the multi, but I also used another heal along with my Grand Warden ability. This just kept a lot of my miners and my hog riders alive, especially when dealing with the town hall. So even though the queen's ability was forced from the single inferno, I still had the RC up, and of course I still had a ton of miners up as well, which still allowed me to get through with no problem whatsoever. Despite her being taken down, I do still think that this attack is incredibly strong for those of you who aren't necessarily maxed out like me. I did this with only 290 camp space. I'd still recommend cleanup troops though, because you might time fail with this attack and you don't want that. So make sure to bring cleanup troops and you should be a-okay. The Blizzard Lalo is by far one of the best attacks in the game. A Blizzard is aimed to remove the core of the base. If the town hall's in there, that's really good. You're aiming to create this like a donut. So pretty much you remove the core, you then bite into that donut with the use of your heroes. So you want to get something like the enemy RC or enemy queen, and then the rest of the base is pretty much going to be your Lavaloon in some sort of C shape around the rest of the base. That just makes the planning of this attack very easy. Now typically, if you are using a Blizzard Lalo, you are going to start with the Lava Hound and then the Battle Blimp. The Lava Hound provides enough tankage, and the Battle Blimp, of course, is just going to be able to get to the core. So in this case, it provides a very consistent way to get that blimp deeper. When you use the Blizzard, use the invisibility and a rage. Time your invisibility spells. If you're too late on it, a scatter shot will one-shot them. So how do you fix something like this when the Blizzard got very little? This is fixing your attack 101 with our attacker here in my clan, VHS. Overall, you are going to send in your heroes, King and Queen. You can easily deal with the enemy CC, and E-Drag CC is probably the easiest CC. And you can send in the Royal Champion with this, since typically you are sending the RC, but the invisibility spells can be used with the Royal Champion in this case to easily get value and to allow your Royal Champion to remove the Giga Inferno. And that just allows you to now have very simple pathing with the Lavaloon portion. How you should treat the Lavaloon portion is like a river. So in this case, he starts off with this area being his first area of the Lavaloon. He'll then send in another one, and he'll continue to work in with the balloons as they work across. Otherwise, you now create this strong synergy as they work themselves in, using a Grand Warden ability since the Town Hall was already destroyed, so you could use it to protect as many balloons as possible. The haste spells you should use to get to stuff like the scatters, infernos, wizard towers, air defenses. Those are the buildings that you need to remove. Otherwise, you need to make sure that you can use free spells against those splash buildings, which can really be a tough time to get through, but can still allow you to absolutely get a 3-star. The other case is going to have cleanup. Look at all of these minions and lava pups. That is your cleanup. So make sure to use them after your Lavaloon in a certain area. I know it's a lot to manage, but that will prevent you from getting a time fail, because the Lavaloon is guaranteed to destroy those defenses, and you got cleanup left over. And hopefully the base breakdown here gives you a better concept of exactly how you can use each of these attacks and really when is the best time to use them. Consider checking out my previous video if you have a Town Hall 12 account or you are a Town Hall 12. I'd highly recommend checking this video out. Also, if you're still a little confused on Valkyries, I'd highly recommend checking out this video, and YouTube says this is the best video for you, so I'd highly recommend checking that video out. And I'll be catching you in the next video. Corrupt, signing out.